throw threats were effective, but that turned out to be true.
What bonuses are we talking here?
Like avoid and hit most.
Oh.
Yeah, like each.
Yeah, it's like each tactician star is +1, I think, or something like that.
Oh, okay, so, yeah.
And this is the map where it's mostly enemy phase the whole way, because I only move 1 unit. And the snow sucks, because it limits your movement. Until you get indoors, where you're fine, but by the time I get indoors, it stops snowing. Even as slow as this is, this chapter is a lot faster than the other route version of it, which has Jeremy, whatever his name is. The goal for that map, it's also like a much wider map, and the goal for it is to defeat everybody, as far as I remember. And compared to this, which is just seize the throne,
Right.
and there are a lot of guys in there, you have to unlock a whole bunch of doors.
Yeah. I believe this is the one where you get either Carol or Harkin, right?
Right. That was a real pain when I was trying to plan a 100% route for this, for all characters. Harkin is the way to go, because he shows up where those Dragon Knights guy just showed up, but he doesn't show up till turn 10. So you get here and then just have to sit around waiting for the enemies to just do stupid stuff for a very long time.
Right.
Pearl would be the same way. He just appears in a different area that's even more inconvenient, and you would have to kill that druid up there and that bishop or that sage. You have to kill 2 promoted enemies.
Yeah, that's how it works with Carol and Harkin. Like, if you kill those 2 promoted enemies before the turn that one of them shows up, then Carol shows up. If you don't, then Harkin shows up. Alright. I'm Butters BB.
Molotov.
SMK.
And this is Fire Emblem.
Yes. That's Florina.
Yeah, that's Florida.
We're going to the stats.
Yes.
And Elwood with bare minimum stats so that he can survive 1 hit.
1 hit.
'Cause that's all he needs. It's very important that I drop him there, because if I had dropped him near the walls, the mage would go for him instead and he would have died.
Yeah.
Good job
Attaboy,
taking that
Elwood.
hit.
Get it down.
It's quite an accomplishment, man, actually, that he actually manages to hit Flurry.
Yeah. I never actually played this map with Jeremy. Like, I never even realized that you could do that. Like, I just kind of got to the last level where, you have to do all the boss group fights. I'm like, who's that guy? I never saw that guy.
The plan for this is a little bit strange. You'll notice I took all of Florina's weapons, because in this game, you couldn't, just before they implemented the unequip option. So the only way to keep one of your characters from slaughtering everybody is to just take all their weapons.
Yes. And the goal in this stage is to rescue Prince Zephiel, because he seems like such a nice guy.
Yeah.
Totally, yeah.
He would never do anything to harm you.
Nope.
No, but the torch glitch, it's used a lot in this realm. And the key is, there's a guy that moves before everybody else past a certain turn. And what I want to do is, I want to have Florina get to him and basically bait him into attacking. So every enemy phase that starts, he'll attack, and then I'll torch glitch, and it'll just repeat so that I can control the enemies at will.
Yeah, kind of a secondary objective here is to protect Jafar, because he's the green assassin on the lower left there. Because normally, you know, he is a really good unit, but he's surrounded by just so many units that's, you know, unfeasible for him to be able to just solo this. But
Yeah, I moved that archer down there. After that kill, Jafar will not move because nobody's in his range. And it saves a lot of time because I don't have to watch him do stupid things. And I had the enemy trade a whole bunch of things to that thief, which is that guy moving in the dark there. Because when the enemy's inventory is full and they pick up an item and there's Merlinus on the map, which, by the way, I did just witness, and Merlinus is on the map, enemies can actually send items to Merlinus because logic. And there are 2 items that I want in this map, the boots and the rescue staff. And the enemies will pick up both of those.
also, normally Jafar would never actually fight the boss. Like, just the game would not let that happen.
So now that I have a rescue staff thanks to the enemy, I will pick up the boots.
So awesome. And so that effect lasts as long as Torch does?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I'll have to recast it on turn 10 because otherwise it won't work anymore.
Yeah.
But after that, it lasts the rest of the map.
So did that enemy just send boots to Merlinus?
Yep.
That's fantastic.
He's a generous guy.
Very generous guy, yes.
The only problem with this strategy is as nice as it is that if you miss, for some reason, you mistime the reset, it'll screw everything up because then the enemy will actually move and do stuff.
Yeah, normally this chapter is actually quite difficult.
Now we need to reuse the torch because otherwise it won't work anymore. And from here on out, I just end enemy turns. Another benefit of doing it this way is that Nino, normally enemies attack Nino, and she'll do stupid stuff like run away and use an elixir, and then get hit more and use another elixir.
It's really nice that they have that instant restart feature.
Yeah.
All right, last turn. Total passing.
That's good. I do like the old strategy where you actually had Jafar kill Ursula.
Now we get the boots for Ines because she's not good enough.
Yeah, she doesn't have enough movement.
Also, just a fun little thing. Fans of this game, Nino is a character you can get from that map. She's a very, very underleveled mage. And like a very popular thing to do is to give her the Aphis drops and try to level her up through the rest of the game.
Takes a while.
Yeah, it takes a while.
It takes a while, and honestly, Pent is probably
Just
Good
yeah,
Yeah,
Mage
Fence
is
is just as good as Nino would get anyway.
not as cute though. So I mean, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
An interesting thing about this map is that there are reinforcement triggers, but they're set in certain zones. And if you end an action in one of those zones, reinforcements will be triggered and then like turns later, those keep coming. Well, you can actually maneuver around them and never end your action in one of those, which is what I did there with everybody else. You'll notice that, see, Nignon never moves past those bridges because those two bridges are the start of a trigger. And Florina's in the river there. If she goes one up and ends her action, it will also trigger. So I have to move precisely not to do that because this is a defeat enemy map. So I would just prolong it by adding more enemies to the map. Which is also why the Mind Glitch is useful here, because there are some enemies that are kind of in an annoying spot to reach, where you would have to go through a reinforcement trigger to reach them. So it's better to have them come to you and kill themselves. She's also not afraid of Ballista.
Nope.
Ballista.
Keep in mind, her defense is still like 6.
Totally fine.
Yeah.
No problem. And the fun part about using the Mind Glitch here, there is an enemy with a mind. So I can use it and then just get another one.
Nice.
Because normally the boss would drop an Iron Rune, which would give critical immunity, but who cares about that? When you can have him trade with a guy who has a mind, so he drops his mind instead.
Indeed.
And this guy, I have him get rid of his long bow and then grab a short bow so that both enemies will be, they'll kill themselves against my units later. This guy. It's not my turn. Because otherwise he would just attack at free range and be a jerk. Thankfully, Hector, as bad as he is because he hasn't been leveled up at all, is still good enough to kill one of these guys because they've rescued somebody, so they're slow.
I love the little sound that happens when a rescued unit dies.
It's a great sound effect.
Yeah. The reason why that's so funny is that usually, if enemies can't actually be rescuing people. I want to see this level up.
It sucks. There we go.
Yeah, these crappy levels are still good. And normally, an enemy can't actually rescue anyone, so it's only, the player that's actually going to be rescuing. So the only time you'd be able to hear the sound effect is if one of your units dies and then the person they were holding drops. So whenever a character dies, they give some sad speech and all the sad music plays and everything, and then whoop!
We haven't changed who we are.
We switched our names.
Yeah.
I'm SMK now.
Yeah,
Yeah, unfortunately the enemy phases just stay long for the rest of the run. I think this is actually the longest one.
Oh, really?
This chapter, yeah.
It's too bad this game wasn't more like 6 where every chapter ended with C's.
They just wanted to make Roy useful for something other than killing the enemies.
Yeah. So one thing, people know Roy mostly because he was in Smash Brothers Melee. I believe that Fire Emblem 6 was originally supposed to be like the first Fire Emblem to come to the States. Like they even advertised it in Nintendo Power and everything, and then just didn't.
Possibly because it was almost impossible.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's the main reason. It's just like it came out way too hard, and they realized we should probably give. This probably isn't the best iteration to use as like the introduction to the series. So.
Oh, and now Marcus can use stabs. Why not? I actually just throw that in his inventory because I want him to have a full inventory so he can, when he kills Linus, I want him to send his super spear to. I want him to send his super spear to Linus so that it doesn't break, and because it's useful later. And so that's why I throw the staff in there. But it wouldn't surprise me if Marcus could get to the point where he could use stabs too. But this is I don't think anybody really competes for this category, so it's whatever my personal best is at this point. Game time is 1:27:13. I haven't done a real time run in a while because I've been here rather than at home. And real time around 1 hour 33 minutes.
So how recent is Torch Glitch?
I think it was like a year or so ago now.
Keep up.
There we go. So he sends the sphere back to 7 uses because they are all useful, and I don't want to waste them on these weak points. If I had the short spear at this point, Marcus would not survive this. And at this point, Marcus is so good, he doesn't even care about weapon triangle disadvantage. Just don't kill this guy.
Yeah, that's a great place to be. 2 hit points, spear user against a berserker.
Oh yes, it's an unskippable scene, but thankfully it doesn't last very long. Because you got to see Elwood promote because he is so useful.
Oh man.
He gets those promotion gains, and suddenly he's the best guy.
Yeah. Let's look at these monster stats.
Still level 1, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Alright, monster stats incoming. Let's go.
If it's any testament to how bad Eliwood is, he has a horse
Bam.
and use him.
Single-digit stats promoted.
Yep.
Oh, and he can use spears. And I'm pretty sure his
Yo,
spear
now you
rank
can
starts off.
javelin things. Oh, great.
Best character ever, best character ever.
So this next chapter is specifically designed to force you to level up Eli Wood.
Yep. But thankfully there exists a thing called the rescue staff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a set path that he's supposed to go on, but, forget that. He's going this way.
Yeah.
Oh, and also forget that, because he's not going this way either. He's going back on the path that he was on. Because rescue and warp together are a powerful thing. So I think just bypassed a whole bunch of enemies. And those little fire tiles there act as basically like a mind glitch. So I get to control the enemies here too. Just like that. There's a guy in the way, but he will not be in the way until I find him. So why not?
So yeah, if you're paying attention, the layout of the map is such that you typically should only be able to...
That was dumb. That's what I get for making fun of the map.
Yeah.
Whatever, it's all good. Yeah, because the fun part about this map is both enemy phases. The second guy that moves is dumb enough to stop on the fire tower. good days to move.
Yep.
He tries.
Right. And there you go. So yeah, specifically designed so that Eli Wood could get levels. Did not fight once.
Yeah.
You got so many levels for that.
Mercifully, I think the chapter is set up so that you aren't required to use Elowood if you happen to have not been leveling up at all. It's just a little bit more out of your way. But yeah, rescue and warp.
And you could play this map normally, but why do that when you have a line?
I'm assuming rescuing those guys just keeps them from moving and killing themselves and wasting time.
Yeah, it eliminates the other phase. Solid execution going on here. And the first guy that moves conveniently steps on line.
Nice.
Because he's smart like that. Now we just disarm all these guys because it's a defense map, so I have to wait it out anyway. And rather than kill them, I will just have them be very confused and do nothing. They'll try to crowd around and then not realize that they're not getting anywhere.
Oh, that is so nice that you can trade and rescue on the same turn.
I like the idea of the archers getting possessed and just deciding that it's a great idea to trade their item with the dark magic user.
Yeah.
And you'll notice that I didn't disarm those two dark mages over there. The shamans, they don't move. So
Okay.
they can just sit there.
Later.
Yeah, that was a boss.
You just kill that for EXP, or?
No, I kill him because if the boss is alive, reinforcements will spawn. Who actually do have weapons. And so at this point, nobody can hurt me. All I gotta do is just wait it out. Which it gets faster once they all crowd up because they reach the point where nobody moves at all.
Do you actually get some sort of reward since all your guards survived?
But those guys are completely useless, other than to waste time. Particularly if they like to get hit by poison blows. Because they can't dodge them, and the poison effect takes forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, poison is like the most ill-conceived status ailment in this game. It does like no damage, but it just wastes a ton of time.
On the bright side, it isn't like it was in the 5th Fire Emblem game where it was permanent.
Oh,
You
yeah.
got poison in the chapter, you need to end the chapter quick because
Because
it will not go away.
776 is just that hard.
Well, 776 also has this this terrific feature called fatigue. So like, if you use your character too much, they're like, I'm too tired, I can't fight this map. So,
Which is a problem because Fire Emblem, your typical strategy is to get a really good character and use them for everything.
yeah.
That was a map. Unfortunately, using the mine there means I can't use the mine here, which does slow down this map, but it still ends up being faster overall. So normally, in the old route, I would spare Limstella because I would just move her off the road, but unfortunately she has to die this time. Yeah, there are also reinforcement triggers here, but most of them don't matter. There's one around the boss area that you can't really avoid because you kind of need to get Illiwood there, and even if you drop him there, he needs another turn just to be able to get in there to seize. Otherwise, Hawkeye, he just hides on the mountain in such a way that nobody can reach him because he just wastes a lot of time or take hits and things like that. And Pet just runs the heck away. So he doesn't fight too much. Convenient thing about Viking covered this, he has a tutorial about moving the cursor quickly in these games because it can be tricky to learn. That if you hold the B button and you move the cursor really fast, it will stop at the end of your movement range. So you can sort of like bump into one side and then move up and bump somewhere else to actually be able to control it. Well, conveniently, those enemies near the boss moved in such a way that they present an obstacle that it allows me to just go that way and then up. So even the enemies are cooperating with me at this point. Does his job at taking more hits, or taking a hit and then dodging like a ninja the rest of them.
Nice.
Which is also a good reason to not have him equipped right now, because he would have had a weapon disadvantage there. Promotion gains, man.
Oh boy.
That was all worth it.
Yes, totally. Was that the Spear of the Gods?
Yep. Get a tome that I don't need, throw it away.
You might want to just show off like the spear and the stats just to so people have a visual reference. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Those are some stats.
+9 speed.
I like that resistance.
And I mean, the stats that they give that spear are meant to make the person holding it unkillable. So, yeah.
And just for this chapter, we get access to Athos. He's sort of the, okay, you really screwed up your level, so we're gonna throw you a bone and just give you this character.
Yeah. Who is way too good.
Yeah.
And combine that with the Luna Tome, which negates enemy resistance and has 30 critical.
Yeah.
So everything just dies. Oh, and he has capped magic too, so therefore he has like 30 magic too. So yeah, he's unfair. And also, you'll notice that I got rid of, Athos comes with a whole bunch of items, but none of them are useful. So therefore I got rid of them because Athos will do a lot of boss killing and they'll drop items. So I want to delay how long it takes for him to have to actually throw stuff away.
Yeah, each of them, or almost all, do all the bosses drop something interesting? Yeah.
All the named bosses. I know their exact kill line with them.
They all drop sort of a power item.
Other than Jeremy, he doesn't, because he sucks, but I care about him.